host, Tom Vassell, here once again at the GAMA Trade Show 2015, and I'm with Justin Gary from Stoneblade Entertainment. Welcome to the show.
Great to be here.
And this is the what number expansion for Ascension?
This is the 8th expansion for Ascension. It's hard to believe it. We had first actually debuted Ascension over 5 years ago at this very show at GAMA. I
do remember when at first, and you had one set.
Yeah, we had one set. We were just, I basically put all my life savings into printing the run for the first time. I had no idea if anybody was going to like it, or was going to do well at all, or if I was going to have to build my house out of Ascension boxes. But it took off and was a hit, and here we are 5 years later.
Well, this is definitely the brightest box of the set.
We experiment with a lot of different color palettes for every set, and this one, you can't miss it on a shelf, that's for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, but from reading up on this seems like it's the most dramatic change in the series so far, because it's called Dawn of Champions, and it's about champions.
That's right. So I have sampled one of the champions here. You actually get to have these big start and play champions. So it's the first time in Ascension where...
Is this you?
Yeah, well, it's representing you or like one of your sort of core allies that you get to play. So you get to be, Dartha or Nairi or one of the big, major figures from the lore of Ascension, and it changes fundamentally the way that you play the game. So it really adds a whole new element to it. And then it ties in with the mechanic that we used in our last set of multi-faction cards and making the factions of cards really matter, because each one of the champions is tied to one of the factions and gets more powerful the more of the cards of that faction you acquire.
How many champions are in the box?
There's 4 champions, so just for the 4 players to play with.
And they basically have special abilities then?
Yeah, they have special abilities that you can get add in the loyalty cards, loyalty counters for them, and then that turns on their powers. So they all have a special card that you get to acquire at a certain point, and they have the ability to recruit new cards of their faction. And recruit is the new keyword for the set, and what it basically means is when you recruit for a faction, whenever you acquire a card of that faction, you can, if the next card flips is the same faction, you get that one too. And it can happen, so it creates a very powerful snowball effect when you can actually, control the cards of your factions. You can set up multiple recruits in a turn, and so the game plays very fast and creates a lot of dynamic turns.
Now, is this an expansion or is it standalone?
It's standalone. It's completely standalone. You don't need any other set to play it. In fact, it plays very well by itself. Most of the time when we're playing in-house, we'll play the sets by themselves. It plays very well with the last Ascension set. For those who are big Ascension fans, previous years we've done a big set and then a small set following it, and those are kind of designed to be played together. We found that people were not as excited about the small sets. They were just 2 players on their own, and so we changed that model. So it's just big. This is a big box following the previous big box, but they are designed to be played very well together. They both focus very much on the, as I said, the sort of multi-faction theme, and we actually have now monsters that actually have a faction and the ability.
Oh, okay, it's a corrupted guy. Right. So he used to be a good guy.
Right, he used to be a good guy, but now he's part of the monsters. And yeah, the keyword is rally, not recruit. It was recruit and play testing. But and so when you beat this monster, you get the reward, and then you can also rally Enlighten. So if the card that replaces it in the center row is Enlightened, you get to acquire or defeat that card also.
So now you mentioned that the set plays best with the one. I've always wondered, let's say someone has all the Ascension stuff and their stack of cards goes up to here. Do you recommend that it's best playing like a few sets together? Yeah,
well, so that it just becomes cumbersome. We're talking about 8 sets of cards at 100 card center decks each. You're talking about 800 card stack, and if you're like me and you put sleeves on the cards, and it's just, this mountain of monstrosity. If you want to do that, I highly recommend getting the Ascension app, available on Android, iPhone, and iPad, and now on Steam finally, and then you don't have to actually shuffle, so that makes it much easier. In real life and in general, like when I design the games, I design them to be played by themselves or with the immediately following expansion. So it's the original Ascension with Return of the Fallen, Storm of Souls with Darkness Unleashed, and then paired up like that. And this one pairs very well with the last set, just so that you don't have this huge stack of cards, and also a lot of the keywords and the mechanics don't get as diluted. The nice thing about a big deck of all the cards is that the variety of gameplay is enormous, right? You never know what's going to happen, but the mechanics are a little bit more cohesive when you're keeping it down to 1 or 2 sets. So that's usually what I recommend. But we also have people who do custom cubes. They do their own custom decks. They'll make a 100 or 200 card deck out of all different sets and all different expansions to make their ideal expansion. We have a bunch of those posted on our forum on AscensionGame.com, and I think we even posted an article like a year ago that had a couple samples of those, so you can really customize and make your own experience.
Now this is, Ascension is like your flagship game, but it's now not the only game, right?
That's right.
What else you got coming?
So this is the first time in, again, the 5 years that we've done this, that we're releasing a new physical game. Of course, we did the digital collectible game Soulforge that I designed with Richard Garfield, which was a really exciting thing. But, you know, my heart is always in the physical world and paper, tabletop games. So this new game is called Bad Beats, and it is a game about eating your vegetables or not and lying to your family. So it's very fun for the whole family. You get to do a lot of, everybody starts with these cute little beat tokens in front of them. Your goal is to get rid of all the beats in front of you so that you can go, you know, eat ice cream or go play video games. But you got to clear your plate first. So players, basically, it's very fast to play. It's like less than 10 minutes. You get passed a card from the player to your right. You keep one card that you have in your hand, and you pass one to the player to your left, and then you just declare your action. And your actions can be things like sharing, giving 2 beats to somebody else at the table. You can feed the dog and get rid of 3 beats.
That I understand.
Yeah, and or you can try to tattletale on somebody else. If you can guess which card they have in their hand, then you get to give them 4 beats. And so it's super fast, super fun. There's actually quite a bit of like strategy in the bluffing.
So like think and double think.
Exactly. So what I like about this game is, like, you know, I can play it with my family, I can play it with my girlfriend, I can play it with a whole bunch of different people who don't really game, and it's simple and it's very, you know, the art is just this sort of really beautiful, cool, very kid-friendly kind of thing. But for us gamers, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and we, you know, the guys and I will just play just for hours, just repeat gaming, and every time you can kind of trick somebody. So like with the Tattletale card I mentioned, there's some reactive cards in the deck too. There's only 5 different cards, but they play together really nicely. There's just a card called Nuh-uh, and if somebody Tattletales on you and you're holding Nuh-uh, you just flip it and you get to give them 4 beats instead of them giving you 4 beats. So again, it's very quick to play, very quick to teach, but a ton of little depth and replayability in it. So I'm pretty.
When's it coming out?
It's coming out. We'll have it out in time for the summer, so probably a Gen Con release. We're just showing it off here.
And what number of players did you say?
2 to 5 players.
2 to 5 players.
The 2-player game is very strategic. There's a lot of going back and forth, and as you get more players, there's a lot more, you know, bluffing social dynamics that come in.
All right, well, cool. We look forward to seeing both of these. Dawn of Champions, I didn't ask when that was coming.
This is coming out next month in April.
Cool beans. All right, well, thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming on. Thanks, guys, for watching the Dice Tower.